Hi, I'm Jerry O'Donnell, the father of Henry Oliver. Henry Oliver was stillborn in 2014 and buried in 20, or his headstone was put in place in 2015, and this photo is in recognition of that. Now, what we are alleging is that the cemetery has since moved our son a bit over to the right-hand side, which is without our permission, which is not a legal activity. In other words, it's illegal to do that without consent. Why they shifted him, we do not know, except that it was to conserve space in an cemetery that's potentially running out of space. Nonetheless, we rec believe that our son has been moved. Now, what makes us suggest this? Number one, notice the tree in the background behind my family. It is leaning more on the right-hand side of the headstone of Henry. To the right-hand side, there is a large boulder of a tomb headstone for another grave that was previously in there before 2014, the McCoys. So the McCoys were there, and we happened to pick out this plot, and that's what we got is a full adult size plot, despite the fact that this was just a small coffin. But that's what we wanted. We didn't want uh, a small size, and we chose a larger size full adult. Now, notice the ability to have had that box of decorative items next to the headstone, but it was pulled forward for the picture, evidently not clearly out of the photo. That was the objective, but it was accidentally left behind, and thankfully so, because it serves as a, a comparison. So that's what we have there is the tree in the background and a lot of space to the right of the headstone. In this comparative image, please notice a couple things. Number one, the boulder is now in view. The tree in the background is now on the left-hand side of Henry Oliver's headstone. The measurement between Henry and that boulder is now a mere 11 inches, of which that box that I showed you earlier cannot squeeze in between anymore. Also, notice the position of Sandra happens to be exactly where we believe Henry's headstone used to be, because the tree is on the right-hand side of Sandra, with a little bit of edge, as in Henry's picture. And both are being shown right now side by side. Please note that it does look like Sandra now occupies that position. And then our curious question happens to be, was Henry still left behind only 4 feet deep because that's allowable by law? And Sandra's 6 feet under, and they share the same plots of land, and it was just a headstone move over? Is Henry actually moved over with his new location? Or is it possible that since the ground does not look disturbed at all between Henry and that big boulder, that they kind of look the same? Is Henry no longer there because after 9 years of being in the ground, there may not have been, unfortunately, much left? Um, don't know. And so that's what's going through our head right now. And we are being told by the cemetery, by the funeral home, that there has been no adjustment whatsoever, and we still have what we paid for. In this screenshot, it's a closer up at about the same distance. Uh, please notice that there is only a small gap. There is no way that that box can actually fit between the tombstone of Henry and that big boulder anymore. Also notice the angle of Henry now. The left hand side seems to be angled backwards, and the right hand side is pulled forward when on the other image, of the 2015 image, it seems that the headstone is pulled forward on the left-hand side and backwards on the right-hand side, suggesting that there was some type of alteration there. And if you're going to relocate a headstone, you may not be careful enough to put it at the same angle. In this next image, we have um, the disturbance of Sandra's area as far as her burial. Notice how close it is up against if you would, an imaginary line next to Henry's, and then you also have again that large boulder on the side there, and this is significant here because we paid for a full adult size plot and were promised that, and we do not believe we have received that. Now, in this case, we used to have that, but again, we're suggesting that Sandra has now occupied that and that Henry has been moved. In this picture of the map of the cemetery that is at the entrance, notice that all the squares are equal, suggesting that every plot that is purchased happens to be approximately the same size, and we're suggesting that we no longer have that size. In fact, what we're suggesting is Henry has now been reduced to basically a walkway between Sandra and the McCoy, which is the large rock formation there, and that we lost a full plot, and now we have just a walkway. Does Henry fit inside of that? Of course. But the fact that we suggest that there has been a disturbance, a shifting of locations, which is without our consent, that happens to be illegal. And we would like to uh, 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 well, we're being told that we're being lied to is what we feel, and what they're trying to convince us is that no, everything is perfectly the same. And we have pointed out several discrepancies in this video, which is just a summary of a larger video on the subject matter. So thank you for taking your time to consider our plight, and unfortunately, to go up against a cemetery is requiring a lot more money than expected, and we could use your help and assistance in this area. Thank you for watching.